Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Axial Skeleton Podcast. I am your host, Philip Acevedo. On this episode of the podcast, I am joined by two very awesome gentlemen. They are the Tukes brothers, Joshua and Michael. We were missing one more. He was unable to make it, but that's fine. Now, they are on this episode of the podcast, and we talk a whole bunch of really cool, awesome stuff. Most of the time, they're out here promoting something really cool that they got going on here in the Inland Empire. If you are living in the Inland Empire, I fucking live here and I can't even pronounce it. If you live in the Inland Empire, you know what? You don't even have to live in the Inland Empire. If you're anywhere near the Inland Empire, if you have family, friends, relatives, whoever that live in the Inland Empire, and you're going to be in the Inland Empire on November the 16th, I got it right. If you, Thursday, November the 16th, my pals, the Tukes brothers, they got something called the Tukes Arts Expo. Now, this is the third year that they're doing this, and it's something really, really cool. So like I said, it's Thursday, November 17th at the Minton Building in Redlands, California. Let me say that one more time. The Minton, M-I-T-T-E-N Building and Redlands, California. Now, what is the Tukes Arts Expo? I cannot talk today. Now, what is the Tukes Arts Expo, you ask? Well, if you go to tukesartsexpo.com, you'll be able to check out what the whole thing is about. I'm going to read some of this from the bio right here on the website. It's basically a creative arts showcase to promote creatives primarily within the Inland Empire. Now, as somebody who lives in the Inland Empire, let me tell you something right now. I love where I live. I'm from Riverside. I have a great environment that I've been born into. And I've been really blessed and very humbled to live in this community full of very creative, very funny, very awesome people that I've grown up with in the time that I've been here, in the 30 years that I've been living here. Now, one thing that's really cool in my time that I've been living out here is that I've come across some really interesting people, whether it be in the socials, atmospheric environments, whether it be in the arts, as far as filmmakers, as far as artists, photographers. If you're really into this stuff, this expo really exposes and showcases these type of individuals. Now, it's an art gallery, concert, film screening, and networking event all wrapped into one exclusive night. Guys, you cannot miss this. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be on Thursday, November the 16th. Tickets are on sale at tukesartsexpo.com. Let me spell that out for you. It's Tukes Arts, A-R-T-S, Expo, E-X-P-O. .com. Go check out the website. If you're interested, there's information where you can buy tickets right there as well. You can also follow them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They're on the show tonight, and I'm going to let them talk more about what the Tukes Arts Expo is. I'm going to let them talk more about what it's all about. And then we drift into more topics of discussion as well. So give it up one more time for my pals, the very awesome guys, very awesome, talented individuals, the Tukes brothers. That are Joshua Tukes and Michael Tukes. So give it up. Enjoy episode 117 of the Axial Skeleton Podcast. Hit that music.
I accept your challenge.
Axial Skeleton. Axial Skeleton.
Check it out.
Axial on. Subscribe.
And now.
Oh, a little Triple H action there. All right, and we are recording. All right, so welcome everybody, episode 117. I'm here with the Tukes brothers. State your names, please.
I am Michael Tukes.
I'm Joshua Tukes.
All right, there we go. So it's a beautiful Sunday night here in Moreno Valley, California. How you guys' weekend going?
Oh, it's going good. Going real
How
good.
did it go? It's Sunday night now. It's pretty much over.
I just got back from a film shoot, short film shoot with my friend Kane over in Orange County. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. It's been a nice day so far.
What you guys shot?
It's a serious short film about a girl who's getting stalked by an internet stalker. And
Sounds like my life. except I'm the one that's getting stalked. I'm not the one doing the stalking.
That's okay. I'm not going to judge.
I just want to state that clear, audience. Yeah, that's cool though. So we're here talking to you guys because you guys got some really big going on soon. Next week, I believe.
Next week, November 16th, from 6:30 to 11 p.m. And the event is called the Tukes Arts Expo.
Yeah.
Pretty much what it is, it's a concert, film fest, and art showcase all wrapped up in one night.
Yeah.
Taking in Inland Empire's talent and creatives all together to showcase the best of what they got. The idea behind it is that, my brothers, myself, we're all artists. We're all could draw, we all could paint. I've been working towards boosting myself as a comic artist. My brother Michael, he's been boosting himself as a filmmaker. And if you follow Tukes Films on YouTube or check it out, you'll see a whole lot of the films he already has. And then I have a comic called thefusioncomic.com. It's a webcomic. And then my other brother Elijah, he's a really great illustrator and conceptual artist, especially in the digital area. And then, but anyway, we always been trying to push ourselves to get ourselves out there more and more and more. We created a brand amongst ourselves as brothers called Tukes Arts. And in the midst of us constantly pushing ourselves out there, we were like, you know what? Why don't we create an event that we could get other people involved with what we're doing too, because we're not the only ones trying to get out there.
Yeah.
As we're trying to get ourselves out there, let's go ahead and help others do the same. Because, we've gone to like big shows like, Comic-Con, and we're aware of like other big shows like Coachella, and we're like, you know what, there's a lot of things you can learn from them. And I figure like, there's not something like a big thing going on in an empire.
Yeah.
And so like, why don't we bring something like that together? And that's when we formulated the idea of the Tukes Arts Expo. And so it was about 2 years ago, on 2015, we did the first Tukes Arts Expo.
Yeah.
And that one, we had about 80 people show up. And then we did it again, and we did that one in our own backyard. Then we did it again last year in 2016, and it was with a friend of ours' backyard, and he was, a construction worker, contractor, and so his backyard was nice. It was like a venue in itself, and he actually hand-built a stage for us, for our performing artists. And in that one, we had about 200 attendees.
Nice.
And so it was a really good event. And then this year, we're actually having a venue in Redlands at the Mitten for the first time, having a venue like that. And we're aiming at 500 attendees, if not more.
Yeah, it's definitely a big jump going from a backyard, but I think a big thing about it is knowing how you're gauging yourself management-wise as you grow an event.
Yeah.
Because even let's say if we had something like $10,000, it's like, yeah, you can get the venue, but do you have the team? Do you have the management? Do you have the staff? Do you even have the skill set to make people feel something and have a good experience when you're at something like that? So I think growing slow has always been the first initiative with us. And it's a huge team effort, and it really definitely goes beyond us three as brothers. I mean, we creatively kind of like knew what we wanted to do very early on, but without the team of people that started off as friends who became like this team initiative effort, which is now Tukes Arts, it definitely like pioneers beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge thing that we want to get across. And I think growing slow teaches us more about ourselves, our team, and it kind of gives an opening for other people to want to get involved, We want our name Tukes to not just be branded as Tukes Brothers, but we really want Tukes Arts to be a representation for all artists.
Okay.
And really getting across the same idea Disney did when it comes to being an Imagineer. If you look at his name, it really goes beyond that, or like Steve Jobs with Apple. It's more about the values, the ideas, and putting in perspective that you don't have to be in LA in order to be successful in the creative industry. Like,
absolutely.
With the internet being groundbreaking as it is, you see people like Gary Vee talking about it every day, that, if you hustle online and, you can...
I'm a fan of Gary Vee.
He's dope.
Yeah,
He's
Gary
dope.
Vee's my boy, yeah.
He's huge inspiration, when it comes to being a driving force and taking advantage of social media, taking advantage of YouTube. There's so many things that are free nowadays that would have cost thousands, if not millions of dollars like 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And the fact that our cell phones can do more today than what a supercomputer at NASA could do back in like the
Seriously.
80s or 90s is pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people have this misconception that you need tons of money. It's like, no, you don't necessarily need tons of money. You just have to accept the fact that you're going to grow, but it's going to take time.
It's going to take
and that 1 turns into 2, and then 3 turns into 4, and then day after day you have 1,000. You get 100,000. You build from there, but you have to acknowledge the fact that it's not just a number. It's not a numbers game. It's a people game. You know, you have to understand people.
Oh yeah,
people over profit. And once you start to realize that, you see that your value is only good as your customers' experience, and your fans' experience, and your attendees' experience. Specifically with this expo.
Yeah.
So this being a creative art showcase, we want to leverage so many things when it comes to having a good experience. And doing that is all about from the moment they get the ticket, from the moment they go through the entrance and it's lit up, the way we have our customer service when it comes to talking to the people that are attending, and just igniting a feeling like, hey, oh man, I had a trombone, it's been sitting in the garage, like maybe I should play it, or I've always had this script or story idea I want to take advantage of, let me write it, you know?
Yeah.
Let me be more ambitious and maybe take a risk, take a chance, take a leap of faith.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to your guys' now you guys already gave me like a really broad idea of what it works. How many people do you guys have working behind the scenes? Like, do you have like a legit staff members of is it just you three running the show and behind the scenes? Because you guys have artists, you have musicians. They're showcasing themselves, but are they helping you guys out with behind the scenes stuff?
I think the best thing to illustrate it, like you just said, there's the musicians, there's the artists. There's the ones who are the performers and all that. I think what you're getting at is like who is the Tukes team or the Tukes crew?
Yes.
A lot of the Tukes team derive from like a lot of the team members within Tukes Films. But I'll let Michael explain the broader scope to how the team is being played, because there definitely is a team. Because even though we had the idea as 3 brothers, we cannot back then, and especially now, we cannot put this together without our team, and there's definitely a major team behind all this.
So Tukes Arts, before Tukes Arts even came to be with this expo, it was just Tukes Films, a production that me and my brother started out in high school, actually. And it was us being passionate about filmmaking. And then I learned very early on that I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be a director. And so other actors and friends of ours got interested. We started doing high school backyard projects, stop motion stuff. And from then on out, that team got bigger and bigger. And then people started hitting us up for video jobs, promotional videos, music videos, weddings, videography, like whatever you can name, like all that stuff. And so we started, that's what I do right now. I do videography. That's how I make money. And, able to build a team and start paying them for certain tasks, whether it's editing or shooting with me, and then teaching them the groundworks, and also them learning trial by error of actually being on set and not having this, I guess you can say, LA approach to it, like, hey, we're the boys from the M, from Nova, and like we're just grinding it out and trying to make things happen. Yeah. But so that team Tukes Films, we've met a lot of people over the years, and actors that, they're an actor, but like our friend Chris, who helps us out tremendously from the groundwork when it comes to editing and getting some of this promotional video stuff done, and Kane, who is like my right hand man when it comes to filmmaking. Like he's always been like my AD. He's like, I work with him super well. He understands how the camera is, and he's just like, he understands how to take an order like fast, like on the spot, like military like, and he sees the long-term vision with it, which is amazing, and I think that's rare for us to not have massive amounts of money for like how many people are involved. We're like way ahead of us. So that's basically spawned into other people like Media Maple, a production team that does dance events and whatnot. That spawned into us knowing other productions like Redefine Rentals out in Redlands, and basically build a strong collective. That's at the end of the day, you really want to build a strong collective and really build really good people relationships. Yeah, man. And when you, like as they say in Game of Thrones, call the banners. Boom.
Well, man, this is the beauty of networking, because I need to talk to you after this podcast for certain video projects, man. So, influences. Now, I've known Josh. I've known your brother for years now. I went to RCC, Louis. We used to play football. I'd get my ass kicked in football because I never played football in my life. But like, I remember we used to play at what's the name of that park over there?
Oh gosh, I forget the. Yeah, it was a park off. It was 2 different parks we used to play at. Right near Iris. It was parks locally close by the Moreno Valley RCC.
Yeah.
Those were some for good times. And just to let you guys know, we not to make ourselves seem hardcore or anything, but we were playing backyard football.
Yeah.
Without pads.
Yeah, I remember one time I got tackled hard, and I was like, man, dude, what did I get myself into, man? It was pretty cool.
Matter of fact, one of my friends, Adam, wants to do a reunion of sorts for this Thanksgiving for that thing.
Oh, man, dude, that'd be fun. So... But now I've been seeing you a lot more often because you work at the gym that I go to, and that's really cool. It's like, hey, but like I remember recently, like, hey, how you been, brother? I haven't seen you in a long time. So I know you've always been into comics. You've always illustrated your own comic books. Now you just told me right now you've always been into videography. What was like influences? Let's talk a little bit about your influence, Josh. First.
So my influences, I think Michael hit it up the best. Is Walt Disney has always been the biggest influence for me growing up as a kid. Now, granted, I'll let everybody know, like Walt Disney. There's some good and there's some bad, and like one of the people who know me best, they will know that I'm a classic person when it comes to chew the meat and spit out the bones. So you can always learn from people, and you can also be aware of their mistakes and just
absolutely,
but still like understand the both cases. With that said, though, talking on the good sides of Walt Disney, just the fact that he was able to create the company Disney and how, and I'll even correlate it a little bit with our expo just to kind of give illustrations of how that influence is working even today with me and our team. So, for instance, when Walt Disney first came up with the idea of a theme park, that was new. Everybody was like, what theme park? People are familiar with circuses or maybe playground parks, but a theme park, a park that's themed after the characters and movies and cartoons that you put together that have major big attractions like roller coasters and stuff like that. That was new. So people didn't really understand the full scope. This is after Disney already pushed forward with like establishing a really strong film brand, especially in animation. Yeah. And even there's a lot of stuff to say on that. Like he put Snow White together and put that out during the Great Depression. So, there goes something about pushing for a dream, even though all the opposition is against you that says, no, you shouldn't. We're in depression. You shouldn't try to put something like this together. Yeah. I'm going to do it anyway, So when you had Disneyland come together, you got to think back. Like in Anaheim, you go in the OC now, especially Anaheim, it's talking about like California being a high price place to live at and compared to like most states. Orange County is one of those top areas. Yeah. But think about it. Before Disneyland existed in Anaheim, Orange County and Anaheim wasn't on that type of level. But when Walt Disney brought Disneyland in, and everything else expanded on it, that became a very high valuable place to live at. All these businesses grew around a very powerful central idea that he put in there that was new, and it drew a whole lot of traction. Then he did it again in Florida. 100%. Orlando was a swamp, or at least a lot of portions of it was a swamp. And he brought in Disney World. I mean, you look at Orlando today, you got a lot going on for it. Yeah. So the idea of the whole build it and they will come is a concept that you could hold true to almost anything you put together, especially things that are about gathering people together for big events. You look at Comic-Con, you look at Coachella, they all started small. Comic-Con started really, really tiny. Yeah. And over the years, they expanded so huge, so now Comic-Con sells out in like less than an hour. And they're massive. Not only do they have this big convention center in San Diego, but they engulf all of San Diego. The whole city gets involved with it. You could literally go to San Diego during the Comic-Con weekend, not even weekend, like the full week really, what it is, for the most part, and like have a extraordinary time without setting foot into the comic convention itself, because they have so many activities and events, and sometimes you run into celebrities here just by walking around to the subway. Oh yeah,
Yeah. 100%. All right,
and so let Michael take off.
Go ahead. What are your influences? Now you have like a steady film perspective from what I've gathered in the information you told me earlier. So I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of directors that have played a heavy role as far as like influence goes. I'd say the one obvious one is Steven Spielberg. I mean, that's the OG of OGs. When it comes to the way he looks at film, it's more about taking from the past more than just like looking towards the future for all the answers. With technology growing, it's there's so many things you can do with green screen, but I always like the practical effects, which is why Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite directors by far. Not because he just did my favorite film, The Dark Knight, which is an amazing project.
Yeah, that's one of my top 10.
But you know, the storytelling aspect of making things practical is something that I would like to bring back to Hollywood. You know, when I hit that tier or level of credibility of a project. Because I feel like it gives the actors more of an experience. I feel like it gives the whole project, the cast and crew, more of an experience to take home. So, I mean, if I were to throw off some names, Nolan, Spielberg, definitely George Lucas, what he did with Star Wars. I mean, he's massive. But on a business side, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
100%,
man.
Steve Jobs is... he's an asshole. But, but at the end of the day, his vision was... an immense game changer when it comes to our lives today with technology. You know, and the way we connect and the way we see. Is it just numbers and computing, or do we have to make this relate to a human person? You know, how can we make the design have an influence on me wanting to actually utilize that technology?
100%.
Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, you know, these are some guys that I've tried to take in more of that business mindset, which is I feel like why me show directing this expo really helps out, because I feel like grinding it out, being willing to lose sleep over things that are very small, might go over someone's head, but you know, we have to think about the experience from start to finish. And it doesn't start when they enter the door; it starts before they even buy a ticket, when they see the promo video. So, getting that across is key when it comes to not just myself, but the crew. You know, and being able to articulate all this has been a huge task, to say the least. But I know it'll all pay off, and hopefully I can make some fat manual and someone else can manage that for me.
You mentioned Christopher Nolan. I just happen to be a film buff myself. Like I've always wanted to direct a feature. I think that's still a goal of mine. I'm pushing 30, but like, you know, I want to eventually make my own. I want to make my own feature film someday. But like, one thing I really loved about Christopher Nolan's latest Dunkirk was that it was so practical effects. I took my dad and I saw it. We saw it in 72 millimeter IMAX theater in Ontario. Man, let me tell you, man. If you've never seen and what was great about it, they shot so much of that using IMAX cameras. And Dunkirk, man, I was just blown away. My dad, he loves war films. I was like, you know what? You love war films. I love Christopher Nolan. We got to go see this. We got to see this in the best projection possible. And we saw it in glorious 70. Is it 72 millimeter?
I believe so.
I think it's 72 millimeter IMAX projection.
Yeah,
the films. Man, it's so worth it though. Like, you're paying an extra. I think it's like $20 per ticket, but it's so worth it though. It's so worth it. So if you haven't seen Dunkirk, I'm pretty sure it's off now out of IMAX theaters. But yeah, it was so worth it. I hope they put it back in there for those that didn't get a chance to see it, because it was definitely worth it.
I didn't get a chance to see it, and he's my favorite director. I feel so sad.
Yeah, no, I saw it in IMAX. It was just a must. It was just like, man, it was great. It was great. The sound, the picture quality, everything was just beautiful about that thing.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan is definitely one of the directors who push really great quality films using the IMAX, like just going over the Dark Knight trilogy, particularly the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. And even these have done with a lot of other movies too. But like there's a lot of really great shots that incorporate the IMAX that it's like, whoa, you know, you really appreciate it. And then you know, you can see how his influenced other directors like Zack Snyder, who's trying to put that in together with some of the Batman, Superman, Justice League movies, and then likewise for I think for the new Marvel Avengers Infinity War, they're putting that into IMAX.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a must, man, because that's I don't think right now, maybe 5-10 years from now, but right now I don't think it doesn't get any better than IMAX right now, dude. IMAX is where it's at.
I definitely like seeing IMAX more than 3D. IMAX is just like, it's a whole other ball game when you're feeling like a little action figure, like you're in Toy Story and Woody's playing with you. That's what it feels like.
And just to clarify, if people are listening, it's a difference between a movie that's just being featured in IMAX versus a movie that had a good portion of the filmmaking done in an IMAX camera. And that's what we're talking about, is
the conversion. You can tell the difference.
Versus this was shot with an IMAX camera, so you're getting a big scope of viewing Like pretty much think of it like if you were standing on a large building in New York and you could see a large scope of New York. That's kind of like what you get with the IMAX camera.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, man. Good, man. But yeah, so I want to talk a little bit more about the Art Expo. Now, you guys have artists. This is going to be like a film festival also. You said you guys also have musicians. Like, this is all through the power of networking, or how did you come across these people?
It is all through the power of networking.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I'll just talk from the past events. You know, a lot of these are like musicians that we came across or know within our group of friends or networks. Same with visual artists. I myself being a visual artist, you know, I know, a few other friends of mine who are visual artists or friends of friends. And then, and then also sometimes you might find out someone who's local or in your social network, kind of network that you could reach out to. They'll be like, oh yeah, sure, I'm down for that. I'll let Michael add a few more things to that.
I think everybody that has some level of creativity or some level of being social has a bigger network than they realize. I think everybody does. And that even goes for social media when it comes to DMing someone to collab. It's crazy. Your outreach is ridiculous. I mean, like, everybody knows somebody. I mean, like, you guys know each other. I didn't even know that. I just found that out just now.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it's just reaching out. And when you're building a team to, like, run this event, and here's a very important idea behind that. We wouldn't be able to do today what we did if it wasn't for last year and the year before. We're going off of credibility. The fact that we're smart enough to, like, hey, let's record this. That way, if we're showing someone, they know what it looks like. They know what people look like. It's a testimony. And you start to understand why in business they want to collect data and have analytics, because they want to see how many impressions they're making, who's really coming out. Is this a young event? Is this an old event? Am I going to be surrounded by people that don't look like me? Or is it a multicultural thing? And our whole thing has been unifying. So when it comes to outreaching, it's really about seeing the value in every single person you meet. And that goes for life. You know, and especially if, for me, my green light goes on if someone says I'm a musician, or if they say I'm involved with photography or film. It's like they stick in my head because I myself as a filmmaker know there might be somewhere down the line where I need them. Now, I know I possess a lot of these skills and I already know some people, but you never know. Like, what if someone can't make it? Now you have a backup, or you have someone who is possibly better. And when you have this team, when it comes to outreaching and networking, to make an event like this happen is putting your team together, really building the charisma, really building the enthusiasm with visuals, not just words, but having visuals to back it up. And then the surprise is crazy to know when people start saying, oh, I know this person, oh, I can get this person, and they start going out of their way. Like, my cousin actually just called, and she was the host of our last event. I was literally just on the phone when I was stepping outside. And she's like, I'm super excited for what you guys are doing. The last one was amazing. I'm trying to get some friends to get some tickets, and she's from North Cal, but she went down here at UCR for college, and she graduated. Big thanks to her. Shout out to her. But shout out to cousin Ashley. Shout out to,
there you go, cousin Ashley. There you go.
But
we're all very proud of you, cousin Ashley.
We're all very proud, and she knows some people at UCR, obviously, because she is a very social person. She was part of some clubs, and she was saying, hey, I'm going to hit up the UCR radio. I forgot what it's called. KUCR. She's like, I'm going to try and get in contact with some of them to get it on there. And I'm like, boom, there you go. I didn't put that up there. But it's the fact that we made the event so good and so energetic for our community that she wants to go the extra mile. And I think everybody that's a part of our team, whether they've been to the last event or just know that what we're going for off of the visuals of our last event is willing to put in the work. Like, I don't know, you don't know this, Josh, but I mean, we have a friend that Simeon, who was at the meeting, who sold 20 tickets just this past week. Yeah, awesome. He's already, and then there's more people on top of that are selling tickets. So when you get to the point to where you can have a network where you get people so enthusiastic about it, beyond the money that they're getting paid, you can get people to promote for you. You know, you can get people to share for you. Because more people need stuff like this when it comes to the arts, creativity, and networking. Because I'm telling you, they have this in LA, but no one likes to sit in traffic. No one likes to pay $3, $4, $5, $20 for parking, waiting in a lot, and then have to spend another 2.5 hours just to get home from somewhere in the IE or even Temecula. It's just such a hassle, especially if you're doing it on a regular basis. If you got work on top of it, or kids, put a gun to your head because it's just going to kill you.
For real, man.
So bringing that to us, the Inland Empire, we're all we really are facilitators to making something like this happen. We're just giving people a platform, saying, "Hey, buy your ticket, tell some people, and we'll give you guys the platform to network."
Boom.
We're gonna put everybody under one roof and make it way easier for you guys. And if you can't go the extra mile off that, I don't know how bad you really want it.
Yeah.
But if you really want it, $15 for a ticket or $20 for a ticket is nothing.
Yeah, dude, that's nothing at all. And I really love that. This is what's great about conventions. This is why I just went to Stanley's LA Comic Con. Shout out to The Rock for giving me a thumbs up. It was awesome. It was changing my life, and my heart's but that's what's great about conventions and what you guys are doing. I really appreciate that, because not only are you guys putting the Inland Empire on the map, that's really good, but you guys are using the power of networking. I'm a fucking fan of networking. Yeah. That's one thing. There's a difference between, back in the day, if you want to network or something, if you want to put your stuff out there, you have to make a newspaper publishing, or you have to put out a TV ad or a billboard. You don't have to do that shit anymore now. It's just like, if you got a business card, go ahead, pass that around. That's great. Yeah. But now it's like social media, the power of the hashtag alone. It's like we live in unique times right now. We do. This is great times. And what you guys are doing right now, you're giving artists a chance to put themselves out there by being, like I said, being under one roof, and just expose themselves by showcasing their artwork, whether it be music, painting, whatever. I think what you guys are doing is actually really good. That's what intrigued me by hitting you up. I was like, yo, man, we gotta talk about this.
Almost deaf.
Yeah. So,
another thing, I think, trying to remember, because we had talked a good deal about a thing, so I'm like, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm like, I remember there's some things I said earlier before we even started this podcast. And one of the things I wanted to mention, just kind of adding on to what my brother was saying, was that the Inland Empire is, I think a lot of people don't realize this, and me being a son of the IE, I think all of us are like sons of the IE, the Inland Empire area of San Bernardino County and Riverside County. I only found this out within the past 2 years, that the Inland Empire is really the largest landmass of territory in all the United States of America. And that's a pretty big thing when you think about that, because you're like, well,
it makes sense. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
And the thing is that San Bernardino County by itself is the largest landmass of territory as far as counties go in the U.S. And you combine that with Riverside. Yeah. I mean, Riverside is a massive county by itself, and then the IE is known, the Inland Empire is known as both of those counties combined. So you look at that, and then like my brother was saying about like how a lot of, hey, let's be honest and straight up, LA is king of media. Yeah. You're ever trying to put yourself out there in the media arts? Like, I'm not saying LA is the only place to do it at, but LA is definitely the top place where you're going to go and like look at to at least give it a shot. Yeah. But again, the Inland Empire has so much talent in the arts, whether it was like music or dance or visual arts or filmmaking, and the list goes on. And people may not, you don't necessarily have to get out there if you make something that's in your own home too. Yeah. Especially when you have the potential of our own area. It's like if you put a flagship on top of an unmarked, or unclaimed territory, I mean, that's a gold mine right there. Rather than have to go into a place where you got to compete with a bunch of other people doing the same thing as you go into like a open blue water of doing something that's new and unique, and with so much potential. Yeah. That it's like, well, how can you not like go about that type of vision when you have that idea in your head?
Absolutely. And let me just piggyback a little bit what you guys just said. Now, LA is like the king of media if you're trying to expose yourself, whether it be acting, writing, music, whatever it is that you want to do. LA is probably much, like, the closer you live to LA, the better it is. Like, spend some time in LA for sure. Go. But there's also, it's not just like he says, it's number one, but there's more other places too. You got Seattle, you got Austin, you got New York, you got Cleveland, you got a whole bunch of other places. Atlanta. You got so many places within the United States. Now, what's really cool about you guys is that you guys have a huge potential to put Inland Empire into the map by making this expo. Who knows? Maybe someday it can turn into a full-on festival. Yeah. It could be a 3-day event thing. Whatever you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys have big plans for this for future plans. I'm pretty sure stuff like this has already come across your guys' minds. But what if this could be the new South by Southwest in the Inland Empire or something? Why not? Yeah. Saying like for you guys, what you guys got is going on right now, the sky's the limit. Mm-hmm. It really is.
To go on top of that too is it's crazy. when you have the idea and how you want to make it happen, and you're like, I want to make this happen, but are you willing to put in the work to really make it happen?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, for us making this event bigger, there's more financially that you got to put into this. So, you know, it's a much bigger risk that, you know, because if you don't make enough ticket sales, you're like, cricket, no one showed up. It's like, oh man, looks like the bank account's going in the negative. That's not such a good thing, you know, especially for something that's only lasting for a day.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it only needs to be a day. It only needs to be one moment that changes someone's life, you know. The fact for us that if someone attends this event and wants to pick up the violin again and start performing, that's gold,
Yeah.
you know. Or the fact that they came to this event and they're an actor and they met a manager or a producer or even a director, that's gold,
Yeah.
you know. Because we want to be able to have that moment where, just like Jamie Foxx kind of put Ed Sheeran on the map and said, let's see what the boy has, let's give him a chance.
Yeah.
We want to be able to have that moment with some of these artists that are rising talent, that we provide that platform to find the next Justin Bieber per se.
Yeah.
You know, and utilizing the internet, utilizing the IE, because the thing is, there's talent everywhere around the world,
Yeah.
everywhere around the United
Yeah.
States.
100%.
Talent isn't based on where you live. It's just working at it. I mean, you can be gifted, but are you willing to grind it out, working at it? And, you know, things could pop off. But, you know, I don't think LA, I don't think New York, I don't think Atlanta, or just the hot spots have to be the gatekeepers to whether you're successful or not. I think, yeah, these are places you have to go, but with the internet, I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And for us, the story of the expo has to be every year. I mean, we're doing this closing in towards the end of the year, but it has to be every year.
Yeah.
Like, our last one was in May, so there's a huge month difference as far as the timeline goes. But we're still making this one happen because it's important. You know, when someone looks back and says, like, hey, you know, this is the fourth, and we skipped 5, and we went on to 6. Like, it just doesn't sound good as a story. You have to look at your journey as chapters.
It affects the credibility, man.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what happened that year? Things got rocky financially. I couldn't make it happen. You don't want to have to say that. You really want to just put in the work and make it happen, even if it has to be on a minimal scale. You know, make it happen. Do the work. And it's ironic because the moment you say, I'm going to do this no matter what, that's when people realize, oh, wow, this boat's taking off with or without me.
Yeah.
Better hop on right now and be
I
a part
like
of
that.
their network.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's very true, because we could look at, you know, and I'm just giving you a little insider talk on conversations we had. We're like, okay, we're going to make sure this happens every year. Well, you think we, you know, plan to do it like a different season of the year every year? No, that just came by circumstance. But the ability to push forward regardless of the situation in hand, and you find out that sometimes it'll work out for the better.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize that in the beginning, but later on you'll find it coming out like, wow, this is actually working out. You know,
Yeah.
God's working something over here where it's actually working out better than what we originally planned. You know, for instance, you know, usually, ideally, when I want to put an event on a Thursday night, especially coming so close to like the holiday season, but we had in our mind like, well, we're going to make sure this happens before the holiday season, even if it's right up next to the door. And if it turns out that it has to be a Thursday night, we're still going to do it. And then you just look at, we still have a big following, we still have a big attendance, we still have a big awareness and support for this to happen. So it's like sometimes you don't know until you go out and just say, hey, I'm going to go do it, and you take the steps forward and you start to see it working out.
Yeah.
You know? And you can't, like, there's a quote that's saying, you can't consider the weather before you sow. You know?
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes total sense. And what I'm thinking about for you guys, like, you guys got something really cool going on. Not all my friends are running art expos, you know. It's unheard of for me. Like, within my circle of friends or like people that I know on social media, not everybody's got something going on. You guys got something really cool, and you guys are going on your third year.
Yeah,
third year.
third year.
So let's talk about the future a little bit. Like, what do you guys got planned? I mean, I don't know if you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys have talked about it.
Yeah, can I add on to that?
Go ahead.
So, I mean, there's a lot of sky's the limit with this thing. I'll just say it
absolutely.
like that. And I think this is the first time publicly we're kind of talking about this. This has always been low-key at our little meetings and whatnot.
Heard it here first. All right.
You're hearing
There
it
we go.
first, but our long-term goal with this is to make the expos be a 2 to 3 day event in the future when we can, when we have enough attendees. Also to bring in both people that are high up in the industry, but really drive traffic with people that are rising artists to perform and get involved with the people that are industry based, and the people that are industry based could find talent. You know, that's the whole goal. It's mixing the top level people with the rising level people, and just making to where this fusion is very explosive.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have the expo in mind, and I've talked to Josh, Elijah, and the rest of the squad on the team at Tukes Arts about this, and we really want to be able to have a festival.
Yeah.
That's an outside event that has similarities to a live showcase like EDC did and Coachella did. And it's funny because EDC started in a warehouse, you know?
Yeah.
It started in a small, dinky warehouse.
Yeah.
And it is
Look at it now.
exploding off the charts today, you know?
gigantic.
It's massive. Even if you look at those drone shots, you're like, oh my gosh, like, is someone going to catch fire from all the pyrotechnics that are going on? And those events cost millions and millions of dollars, but people want to pay $300 to $400, not including the hotel, not including food or gas, just for that ticket.
Yeah, the
Because-
revenue level is amazing on that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because they want an experience. So I love Comic-Con, but I think in the long run, as we're making these expos, and as you know, we get into the line of making something like a festival that's a 3 to 4 day event where people could come out. We want to keep things organic, but we also want to keep a level of theatricality. Like, I always thought it would be cool if I was walking around Comic-Con and randomly a theater show just starts with like Batman and Robin and Joker, like people on stage, kind of like at Six Flags, or when you watched Aladdin at Disney, you know, their theater shows. I always thought that was super cool, and that's performing arts.
Yeah.
So I think that would be amazing to bring that into our expos or our festivals, to where this moment isn't just something that's square or based off of your viewpoint of ability. You know, it's something that can be your own individual experience, even though this event has a lot of people at it. Like, you could have your one little moment there. Disney did that. If you look at Disney, it's completely structured when it comes as a business. But when you go to Disneyland or Disney World, it has a lot of curvature, which is very rare with most businesses or theme parks. It has a lot of curvature because they want to give people an experience of discovery. And everybody is constantly discovering. I know people that are broke, but somehow still find a way to have a season pass and go to Disneyland. Doesn't make sense to me.
It makes zero sense to me.
But they go because they know they'll always find something new.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me look for the secret Mickeys, or oh, let me get this new drink, or this new hat, or this new T-shirt, or new keychain.
Yeah.
You know, Disney has the gold mine when it comes to making people wonder.
Yeah.
And that's something that we want to tap into with our creativity of Tukes Arts, is making people get enticed by imagination, wonder, and an experience.
All right.
And if you do that, sky's the limit.
100%, man. Shit. So, now one thing that we've mentioned here, we've mentioned about hard work and hustle, the daily grind. Now, day jobs, are they getting in the way of you guys?
Day job's a good question. Like, for me, right now, I work at 24 Hour Fitness, service rep, and then I also work as an art instructor at like several locations. You know, one of them being Michael's Art Store. There's a few other places like the Fearless Art Studio here in Reno Valley. Really great place if you want to go there for like paint parties and stuff, run by Porsche. And you know, sometimes I do like independent paint parties, or like freelance work for people, like commission pieces, or you know, right now I'm doing some artwork for a friend of mine for character designs and an eventual full comic for a storyline he created. So you know, finding my own work that way. So you know, the idea for me when I do it that way is to kind of help me, and then sometimes I might, you know, if I really need to, like maybe find like a little temp job to do something here and there.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm just being real with you guys. And so, but the idea for me is like, you know, one of the two major goals is to remain my flexibility, so I could be able to build, you know, my arts, and of course, you know, do a lot of artist work for hire, so I continue to fine tune my skill, but also like, you know, do that work by making revenue. I mean, the ultimate goal is to create my own content. And of course doing art classes, because I've grown to really love that. And expand on that, you know, so that I could, you know, eventually have my own characters and have comics that sell, have my artwork, you know, to sell. People could just purchase the art that I create with the paintings and stuff. So that's the point where I'm at right now. I'll let Michael speak for himself.
Yeah.
So when it comes to my work, I used to work at Nike.
Nice.
And I actually used to work at Starbucks 2-3 years ago. I think 2 years ago. But in the past 4 to 5 years, I've been doing videography with that. And now I'm like just fully doing that, my own
That's
work,
awesome. That's gold for me right
self-employed
there.
with doing that kind of shoots and whatnot. And it takes time. It takes time to build up that clientele. It's very personal. I kind of look at it like with videography or photography or any form of like creative service that you're trying to utilize, you have to understand like what that line of business is and how could you strategize to both get you a good income but also provide them more than what they were thinking. I do wedding shoots too. We do a lot of both me and my team take on photography and we do video for weddings, so making 45-minute videos, 2-minute highlights, and I'm working on the side and trying to build up a workshop when it comes to teaching people filmmaking, videography. But my whole thing is just I literally do what my skill set is, which is dope, and it's not something that a lot of people are able to tap into right away, but I've been driving at it and thinking about it and learning about it for years.
Yeah,
and I'm self-taught to a huge degree, but you know, you're only as good as the people around you, so I try to stay around people that are ambitious. I notice the more you hang around with people that are more wealthy than you, that you're cool with, or the people that are like have a ridiculous work ethic, your work ethic is going to grow tremendously. You know, like you've heard this phrase before, you are your 5 closest friends. So I've taken that to heart, and I hope that me being the friend that can get other people leveled up that are close to me that maybe aren't financially there yet, I think that that's a huge thing. I kind of want to not just climb the ladder, but lend a rope to help other people rise in the process.
That's fucking cool.
I think, you know, people over profit, man. And with this expo, though, goodness, like you got to make a lot of sacrifices when it comes to work.
That was my next point right there. Now we all got some side hustles. I got a day job. I work at a hospital. I was just telling you that I work like 50 to 60 hours a week, and I'm trying to tone it down. My boss gets mad because I'm like, hey, can I work 40 hours a week? And I'm like, is that too much to ask? And she gets all mad. It's like, well, I'm like, I appreciate all the overtime, but man, I got to work on my side hustle, you know? Like, I mean, you got to, like, I can't be in this hospital for my whole life. So that's the thing. Now, when it comes to financing your guys' expo, how does that work? Do you guys collaborate? Is there certain permits that you guys have to take on?
So, there's a lot. There's a lot. First off, credibility is huge, and you're only as good as your associates. You know, Tom Cruise isn't Tom Cruise just because Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise because he knows Will Smith and Steven Spielberg. You know,
exactly.
So it's like, who are your close circle of friends, or who are the people that you can, as I say from Game of Thrones, call the banners with? You know,
exactly.
And I've been able to do that a lot with filmmaking and meeting people through that industry of interviews and documents and working with real estate companies, so I have a pretty good network when it comes to that. But beyond that, when it comes to the expo, we're leveraging our past events to make this one happen. So we have an investor actually investing when it comes to making this process happen because he sees the vision and he sees the potential. But that wouldn't be the case 2 years ago because we were just starting. And a lot of people look at it like, man, I want to go big. I want to do this huge. And you know, for us, it's like, which is something we're going to say on stage, hey, start small. It doesn't happen in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know? And a lot of people want to build in a day. They don't realize, like, most people make monthly goals. Some people make yearly goals. Very, very, very few people make 5-year goals, 10-year goals. And that's what this expo is. It's a very long-term thing that we're committed to. And, you know, when it comes to work, you kind of, you do, don't get me wrong, you do have to sacrifice some work jobs if you're going to make your dreams happen. Right. Like, when it came to this expo, like, I've been in the process of denying some videography jobs, or just, I'm taking too long because I'm putting so much work into this event, show directing, and helping manage and making these things happen. But I know deep down that you keep digging, and this expo is going to be gold. And I know that this is going to be the thing that helps pays people jobs or give people full-time jobs and allows our network to grow tremendously. There's a lot of companies, there's even millionaires that we're getting involved with through actually doing these events. You know, because at the end of the day, people look at people, you know? And so when they see a lot of people attending something like moths to a flame, they're like, $, $, $, $, you know? And so that's how you get investors involved. But at the end of the day, the people that are attending, the guests, the audience, those are the fans. Those are the people that you really want to make an experience for. When I'm at Comic-Con, I'm like, yeah, they're making a lot of money, but at the same time, they're giving me an experience.
Yeah.
And if you get people an experience, it's going to mean the world. But when it comes to work, you have to, I'm sure you got to like pull some all-nighters. Like just this past week, for Halloween, I had to do 2 all-nighters back to back to finish a short film for Halloween that we were shooting for the past 3 weeks. And I have to finish another short film that I started in the beginning of the year. That's coming up for this expo. Just for the record, it's not done yet. But if you guys see the 2017 expo, the short film that I'm wrapping up is still in the works. So that's kind of like put in the work, do the extra hustle.
You're trying to premiere it at the festival?
Yes. And we did that last year with our my Star Wars fan film that I directed. It's
which I watched.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Well, I
Holy
premiered that.
shit!
And
bro.
I got the last few lightsaber effects done for that.
Nice.
3 hours before we started the
Holy
event,
crap.
and I got maybe 1 hour of sleep. So that my eyes were bleeding, but my heart was on fire from excitement.
Man.
And when we do these events, I can speak for everyone when I say this, including myself. It's euphoria.
Yeah.
Because to know that you put in this amount of work and that this amount of people enjoy it and say thank you for doing this, it's almost like you feel like a hero, like you're stepping on top of a mountain. And you kind of you get the feels because you know that people need this. And you're providing something that's good. But the fact that it took so much work, it's kind of like graduating. You know, I didn't finish college because I knew the degree where I wanted to head out, and I knew that I didn't want to pay $80,000 for a film degree and be in debt when I want to make my first short film or feature film. It doesn't make sense to me. Now that's not the case for everyone. I do believe in education. I do believe in school. I do not believe that you should be in crazy debt for school.
Okay, that was going to be, I swear I should have written it down so I can show you guys. I was going to get to this point right here. Now, we've already mentioned Gary Vee a couple of times and stuff like that. Like about 2 hours ago, probably like around 5 o'clock, I was watching this video on YouTube. I'm a huge YouTuber. I'm on YouTube all the time. I'm subscribed to Gary Vee. I'm subscribed to all these people, right? Bad Entertainment and all these others. And there was this video, I don't think it was published by Gary Vee, but I think it was like a Gary Vee fan page or something like that just posts a whole bunch of motivational videos and stuff like that. And it says, college degrees, do we need one? And then a whole bunch of people, including Gary Vee, even Bill Gates, or I don't know if it was Bill Gates, I think it was someone else, Mark Zuckerberg, a whole bunch of others.
Even Elon Musk.
Even Elon Musk said it too. Elon Musk, he's standing right in front of a Tesla, right next to him. It's like, oh yeah, we don't need college degrees. No. It's something that we don't need. And I'm just asking, I was blown away because I recently went back to school. I'm just taking business courses, because what I want to do with this thing, I want to turn this into like a big media company as well with videography, podcasts, all original content. That's my thing. But the thing is, I don't know the mechanics of it. So I decided to go back to school, learn business, learn how it works from payroll to how to get money through subscriptions on the webpage, all that fun stuff. So then I'm like, I'm just going just so I can learn, but do I really need to go all the way to get my degree? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm already learning a lot. I feel like I can maybe not stop college, but I can probably continue a little bit longer. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to just continue doing my side hustle. But, with school, it's not as huge of a priority as my business, And that's going to ask me, like, you guys got something going on. Now, college degrees, how do you guys feel on that? Do we need it?
So, the college degrees, I want to be really careful when I talk about that because, you could... you don't
want to send the wrong message to somebody.
You don't need them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Here's the thing. First and foremost, I'm going to get to the real core of this. I was going to talk on a service level. I'm going to get to the core of this for people who are listening because I know there's people who really think about this because I think about this a lot and all of us thought about it in our own lives. And you got to get to the core of what is your vision for your life?
Yeah.
What is it you're really trying to do with yourself? Because sometimes there's certain pathways where, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to have to get a college degree. Let's say it straight up. And there's other things that are like, you don't need no college degree for that. You could do that by another means. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who don't have college degrees. But you really have to ask that question. What is it that you're trying to do? What's your vision? And sometimes that's a really hard question to ask because you may not know. And you might be going through a process of where I might want to do this or this, and then you go, it might be through school, it might be through life, and you find out that you want to do this instead, something else completely. And there's nothing wrong with that. But of course, at a certain point in time, hopefully while you're still a young man or woman, you got to figure out what that is, because you only have so much time to figure out what you really, really want, because otherwise, not to say you can't do it later in your life, because age is just a number, I believe, but you don't want to only push yourself in that position.
Yes.
You be having kids and a spouse, and now they become your number one priority, not your dream, not your vision, not whatever you're trying to do. So, for example, I can make a quick illustration. If you're trying to become a doctor, you're trying to become a lawyer, you're trying to become a school teacher, it ain't no ifs and buts about it. You got to get a college degree.
Pretty much the corporate world.
Corporate world.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to be like a cook or a successful artist or someone in the entertainment industry, or there's a lot of other things too. A lot of things even in business that you don't need a college degree for. And you have to ask about yourself, like what pathway is the best pathway for you?
Yes.
And sometimes you can only answer that question the best. So there's a lot of books out there. There's a lot of talkers out. I mean, not talkers like they talk and whatever, but like a lot of good talkers and motivational speakers and stuff like that, coaches and all. And it's good. I recommend you reading that stuff. Fill your mind. Read books from Robert Kiyosaki. He talks about he breaks this down in such a science. That really would help you in those questions. Like, and I'll say this real quickly before I move on to somebody else to say on the matter. A quick illustration. This is from Robert Kiyosaki's book on Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Go get that book. I highly recommend it. If you haven't read it yet, get it now. And in that book, I'm gonna have to borrow that paper real quick just to help the illustration. Even though you guys can't see what I'm writing, it helps me because I'm a visual person. So there's a quadrant, a 4-quadrant. So imagine drawing a cross. And if you follow along with me, you could probably just write this down as I'm telling you how to. So draw a cross. And on the very far left corner, you're going to write E.
The top left corner.
The top left corner. Yeah, top left corner. Thank you for the correction. Top left corner, you write E. Bottom left corner, you'll write...
Self? S?
S. Thank you. And then on the top right corner, you'll write B. And then on the bottom left corner, you'll write I. And so what the E stands for is employee. Okay? And what the S stands for is the self-employed or small business. What the B stands for is for big business. And usually for, Robert Kiyosaki says it's like having like 500 people or more as employees, and big business could be described in other ways other than just the number of employees, but just to give an illustration of what that is number wise. And then you have I, which is an investor, so think of like Warren Buffett or somebody like that. And so 98% of the population, if you circle the left side of the quadrants, that's 98% of the population. 98% of the people you see or talk to are going to be either an employee or a small business or self-employed. And what they do, they trade their time for money. So whether you're working as a janitor, a school teacher, as a fast food restaurant, or you're working as a doctor, a lawyer, you're still trading your time for money. So even if you're self-employed, if you stop, you get sick, you can't go to work that day, you don't get paid because it's your time for money. Now, for the big business and the investor, there's like the 2%. You ever hear about, the 2% are so rich? Well, because they have a whole system that works different. And they use assets to create their wealth. And so an asset, there's other words for assets too, like passive income. So quick example, and I think for most of you listeners, like I'll just use music as an example. Let's say Kanye West. And Kanye West has a tremendous asset with his music. He's still getting paid for every album that he made in the past. So if he stopped working today, he still has money coming in through passive income from royalty checks from songs he's done, not only on his own albums, but even if a guest featured songs he's done in conjunction and collaborations with other artists, whether it's Jay-Z or Dr. Dre or Kid Cudi, whoever. So every time that song's played on the radio, every time someone buys that song or downloads it off iTunes, he gets a percentage. And so you imagine all those downloads, how much percentage of a check he's getting regularly. And that's what you have to think of. You have to think of what can I create that's an asset. So if you have, like, let's say who's a big business owner and they got 500 employees, or plus, you think they have to be at work every day? If they train their employees right, if they train managers right, they could be somewhere else on the beach sipping on some Kool-Aid, just kicking it, and of course every now and then make sure everything's running functional, and they're good. They don't have to show. They got a system running in. Michael Jordan, you don't have to go to work. He got those shoes coming in checks. Oh, that's a royalty check. He's set. That's an asset. Same with an investor. If I invest in a company, upstart company, think about if you invested in Snapchat when Snapchat was just starting, you would never have to work another day.
That's it.
Because you got all that money coming in as that company grows. But you have to be a smart investor. You got to be a smart business person. You have to think on that level of how do I create assets, so that when people who are successful in thinking assets, they don't think about retirement because they already created a system for them never have to retire, but without them ever having to work either, because they make money work for them versus them working for money.
So, Josh, what he just did is laid out the whole financial system in a nutshell for you, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you think about it, you can be rich by tomorrow. Today. What I was going to say of college, I don't necessarily feel like it's needed. You don't necessarily need a college degree if you're going to be in entertainment or be an actor or an artist. I think there's a lot more things you can do from your self-experiences to grow both creatively and financially. By taking the world on. Jay-Z had a great analogy to this when someone asked him a question. I think it was Howard Stern on a radio interview. He said, you don't feel intimidated when you walk in a room full of businessmen, or because you don't have business, you haven't read as many books. It was like, oh yeah, well, they've read books, but I've had experiences. They've read a lot of books.
So much right there.
I've had a lot of experiences. So by definition, Jay-Z is the person that they're really reading about, because he's the one actually putting in the work, not just someone who went to college. Not docking college, not throwing it under the bus, but there's a difference. People have to understand that you can read books. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to apply, which is another reason why Bruce Lee is one of my favorite philosophers and mentors. It's like you have to be able to apply what you think and what you want to grow in. You have to take the risks and take the leap of faith, jump into cold water. And schools are but obviously, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, I want you to go to college. I want someone operating.
I would like to see that plaque on the wall.
I would like someone who has a degree, who's operating on my heart and my brain, to have some level of certification.
Absolutely.
But there's not everything applies to that.
Yeah. So all right, so we're running low on time, but we got to do this again for sure. We can talk for hours and hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like us three right here in the same room can really go for another episode. I had a great time. But we got to wrap this up pretty soon. Now, the expo. I gotta start calling it a festival. I'm calling it future.
You're thinking about the future.
I'm talking about the future. It's gonna be a festival. Let's
speak it into existence.
Yeah. So the expo. How can we find information on the expo?
So if you want to find information on the expo, you want to go to tukesartsexpo.com. Has all the information right there. Be sure to click on the tabs. Some people look only on the first page. We probably might add a few extra stuff to the first page for that, but click on the tabs. There's only 3 tabs in there. Furthermore,
we have a Facebook page for the event, Tukes Arts Expo 2017. Underline live show. We're putting on that way more people could see that the fact that we're going to have live performances at this event.
Nice.
We're also on Instagram at Tukes Arts Expo. That's TUKESARTSEXPO for those of you that need me to spell it out. But TukesArtsExpo.com has all the information, and you can see our promo videos. You can really get a sense of what this event's all about. We have a pretty solid description about literally what we just talked about for the past hour. And for more details, and don't be shy if you want to hit us up or get involved with our event, with the art portion of it, or have a gallery or a photographer. You be a vendor. Don't be shy. Hit us up. We're always down to build our network.
Speaking of vendors, granted, this event's coming up real soon. Like we mentioned, it's November 16th in Redlands, between the time frame of 6:30 p.m. all the way to 11 p.m. The exact address is it's at the Mitten venue building, and the exact address is on the website, so check that out. If you are an artist, particularly visual artists, but even if you're a performing artist, musician-wise or business vendor, please hit us up. We do have a few positions still open for things, and granted, even if we fill up anytime soon, we would like to get connected with you guys for future events that we'll be having.
And to elaborate on that, just once again, that is tukesartsexpo.com, and you can also go to downtown Redlands, California. That's where the event's going to be at the Mitten Building, downtown Redlands, California. And it's going to be during market night, so there's going to be a lot of people outside. Hopefully all those people attend at our door because we're down the street from there. But it's going to be a good time. If you love music, film, photography, dance, anything like that, you're for sure going to have an experience.
Hell yeah. All right, with that being said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go stop by, and I'm going to say what's up to you guys. And I'm looking forward to having some fun times with you. And I had a great time recording this episode. We got to do this again, guys.
Most
definitely. Thank you again, Phil, for the
opportunity. Yeah. And I'll put the links on the information on the website as well on this episode of the podcast as well. But yeah, we got to do this again, man.
On the record, this is our first podcast.
Yeah,
really?
Phil did it here.
Well, let's make sure this is not the last. We gotta keep it strong with this, man. Next time it's gonna be YouTube videos. Watch. Yeah. I think what we got going on, you guys got your thing, I got my thing going on. Yeah. I think it's just the beginning of something special right here. So let's just keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going at all times. All right, guys. So all right, that's been episode 117 of the Axial Skeleton Podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Say bye, gentlemen. Go ahead.
All right. See you guys later.
Tukes out.
Laters. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 117 of the Axial Skeleton Podcast is done. It's over. We're moving on to episode 118. I'm going to drop that episode later on this week. I hope you guys are having a great week. Shout out to the Tukes brothers for showing up. Give them a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that fun stuff. You can check out some of their amazing work that I've actually seen. Fell in love with that Star Wars fan film that they made. I thought that was really cool, very talented. Raw talent coming straight from the Tukes brothers themselves. Now, as I said, Thursday, November the 16th of 2017, be sure to go to the Tukes Arts Expo. There at the Mitten Building in Redlands, California. Now, if you're in the Inland Empire, Riverside, Moreno Valley, Paris, Fontana, then you know where Redlands is. It's not even that far. Go check it out. Go check out tukesartsexpo.com. Get yourself some tickets. I'm going to be there, and I hope to see you guys there on November the 16th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. They close at 11 p.m., so we got plenty of time to hang out. Come by, say what's up to me, say what's up to the Tukes brothers, say what's up to all the artists and musicians, digital arts, photographers, videographers, filmmakers. Go say what's up to all of them. Get in touch with some network. This is a very great opportunity for people to come out and network. You got a side hustle, you got a side business. This is a perfect, excellent opportunity for you to come out here and talk, hang out with me, hang out with the Tukes brothers, hang out with whoever the fuck you want. Thursday, November 16th. Doors open at 6 p.m. I hope to see you guys there. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 117 of the Axial Skeleton Podcast. I had a great time. Shout out to one more time for Tukes brothers. Thanks. We got to do another episode of that podcast, man. We got to do. There was so much more that we could have talked about, but we're running low on time. We're running low on battery life, and I hope that we get to bring them on back onto the podcast hopefully soon in the future. Excellent guests. So that's it for me. I hope you guys are having a great week. Be on the lookout for episode 118 of the Axial Skeleton Podcast. We'll see you guys soon. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Phill Free or Die Hard on Instagram. I'm at Bruce Phyllis OK on Twitter. Say what's up to me. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, stay focused, stay sharp, and Axial on.